And live.
Here we go.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How
Good.
are you doing, Vanessa?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
It's a busy Saturday for me. So welcome to Mental Arts with our guest, always of John Worthington. And today, I'd like to go over a little bit of things that we've been going over. Um, we've been talking about the overarching of what you do, right, with these seminars that you do, and what tools that you focus on and stuff. And so um, we have talked about something that's called functions. So
Yes.
I'd like you to give us like what are they and why, like and overall what they are, and why would we need to know about them? Because I know that we all have them, right? That's what we were talking about the last time.
Right. Well, let's see. The problem is that we tend to divide ourselves into two parts. We say, okay, I have a soul, and but I'm my body,
Mm-hmm.
because we just can't really understand how it is that the soul is currently active in our bodily daily uh, 24-hour day life. We just don't know. We just don't know what that's about. And so the thing is that because my early training was in what's called New Testament Church, which is really a part of missionary training, um, and I trained to be a missionary. Uh, One of the things that I realized was that we really are spiritual entities at the same time that we are physical entities. I mean, we can be both things at once. In other words, I don't have to have a soul. I am a soul, but I'm also my physical body. Uh, and so, what is the soul? Well, there's lots of ways of thinking about it. You could think about it as it being an entity connected to you from another dimension, for instance. You could think about it as being an energy structure around the body, if you wanted to. There's a number of ways it could be considered. It could be considered also in the traditional form of where it being. Hi, Sally, ¿cómo estás? You could also think about it in the traditional form of it being something like, oh, I don't know, some spirit. Okay, I have trouble with some of those. Okay, so for me personally, I tend to think about it as an entity or a platform that if I can figure out what it's doing, that I can use what it does as a platform to see what I'm supposed to be doing. Me being the body part here now. In other words, me being the platform can observe me being the body, and me being the body can observe me being the platform. To think about it from that perspective. And so there are seven, well, let's call it seven, but there are actually eight identifiable functions that the other, or the soul, or that spiritual entity that we are has with the body, or with realities, we could say. And for those of you who are into it, you know, we could think about it like this: it is that all of the particles that we know about in this third dimension can be found in the math of an E8 construct, which is actually a quasi-crystal of a fourth dimension, which is a quasi-crystal of an eighth dimension structure. I can't visualize 8 dimensions. I can't visualize 4 dimensions. Hell, I can't even tell what time it is, much less have 4 dimensions. But nonetheless, we could think about it from that perspective and say, okay, then we are connected to these other dimensions rather stringently. And so from that perspective, we can say, okay, then what is the function of us being aware here in this dimension? And it appears to be that of creativity, or of inventiveness, if you'd like. Okay, what is it we invent, and what is it we create in this dimension? What is it we're making in this dimension? And from that perspective, then there are 7 things that we can pay attention to reach the 8th. And those 7 things, you don't have to believe in a soul and nothing like that to do it. You don't have to be religious to understand this. You don't have to have any precursors or anything. It's just a matter of understanding what it is that we're talking about here, that there are these functions that we can recognize. A function is, for instance, be one. In other words, it's a difficult thing for somebody to eventually be one with themselves, okay? To find out how it is that they are solely only one entity, body, soul, mind, all of it. It's just one. That's it. Because we tend to have these fantasy lives about our body, and it's great stuff, but it's really Walter Mitty-ish, and it's a fantasy. It's not actually reflecting reality, and so that's a problem, because reality requires us to be aware of what we're creating. So if we're at one with ourselves and we know who we are, and where we came from, and what we're about, and what our programming is, and that we control our programming as opposed to our programming controlling us, that's a function we could say of the soul, or the other, or the spirit, or this platform that we're going to stand on to look at life with. And then there's harmony function. Harmony function is pretty common. If I'm at one with myself, how can I talk to somebody else? Well, I have to be in harmony with where they are. They don't have to be in harmony with where I am. If I'm the one that wants to communicate, it's my responsibility, but it's my responsibility to communicate with where they are. And so I have to be in harmony with that. And so that's a function. And then there's the do function. The do function is, what do me as one and you that I'm in harmony with, what do we do? And so the thing is that in reality, this you that I want to talk to is somebody I want to communicate information with. And to do that, I have to have a specific function. That communication has to do something in particular. And the thing it has to do, so I can keep up with it, or I can remember it, or I don't lie about it, or I don't kid myself about it, it has to fit within my natural mind functions. Whatever those are for me, whether they're things I learned as a child, whether they're things I have a talent for, whether they're a combination of all those things, who knows? Everybody's different in that regard. Everybody has different percentages, or different mixes, or different recipes for how to mix that all together, which is kind of nice, because there's lots of recipes. Life isn't boring like that, So beyond that, then there's also, on the other side of the equation, this person I'm being in harmony with, we kind of expect them to be empathetic with what we're asking, and be intuitive about being able to see where we'd like to go. And those are functions too. Those are functions that we have to be aware of. We have to practice ourselves if we wish that to take place. And so those are the 7 functions that lead to the final function, which is the function of agreement. And that function is something that we're doing between each other all of the time. In the theory of everything, what they say that function is doing is that function is creating information, and that information is making reality through some kind of stack up of tetrahedrons. I have no idea what a Planck length tetrahedron is, nor do I understand how they work or anything, but I can tell you this, that agreement fits the bill. But you'd have to try that out for yourself. Rather than arguing about things, you'd have to find a way to be in agreement to see if that actually does create a reality that you wish. If you examine your life, I think you could find that's actually the case. I think anybody knows that if whenever they have agreement to accomplish something, it's much easier than when they're doing it all by themselves, swimming upstream.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the functions. They're just the 7 or the 8 of them altogether that we talk about. But to do them and do them well requires fair amount of time, I think, for most people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something
So
they
you're
do
saying, like,
night
for
morning.
those that, like, for instance, you're aware of them because they're in the body. So if you're aware of them, your agreements would be more of what you'd like them to be. And we're talking about how
No,
our
not
agreement.
necessarily. Okay, not
Okay.
necessarily. What they are is that, okay, look, the agreement's not what I want it to be, and the agreement's not what you want it to be. The agreement's what we want it to be. Okay, and what I want and what you want put together uh, sometimes makes um, strange things. Okay, because we're not really all necessarily always aware of what we want at what levels. And on the energetic levels, we tend to run away from those. We tend to say, "Oh no, they're too intense. I can't handle it. Oh, the humanity and the oh my, I can't." That's what we tend to do, okay, because it's an energetic level. However, when we communicate information, what we're always doing something. Always. That's what we always do something when we communicate information. Always. And so when we do something, we can make mistakes. We can also be heroes, but when we do something, it's not the same anymore. And so we're sometimes we get really nervous about taking that step and doing something that we don't have permission to do. That we're doing it
Mm-hmm.
just for the hell of it, doing it because we want to. Now, a lot of times people confuse that ability with "I'll do what I want to." By gollies, okay, I don't mind that you do what you want to, but who's the me that wants to?
Mm-hmm.
That rebellious little kid that you were when you were 3, the one that said no all the time. Every time I said, "Would you like ice cream?" No. Would you like a Coca-Cola? No. Would you like to eat? No. Would you like to go hungry? No. Would you like to go for a walk? No. Would you like to play with yourself? No. You
I
know
have
those
one.
kids. You have
Yeah,
one of those? Yeah.
I have
You
one
have
right
one.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty common actually at
Yeah.
a
Want
certain
to put your
age.
shoes on? No. Do you want to go outside? No. Do you want to go
No.
inside? No. Do you want to
No.
go buy us in the car? No.
Nope. That's the one. Yep. And
Yeah.
and the thing is that unless we get over that, we'll carry it on into being 50. We'll still be
Well,
doing
and
the
on
same
top
crap.
of that, they are, biocomputers. They're fresh out of the box, and so the only thing they hear from mom and dad is no.
That's right. That's
So what
right.
are they going to say? They're going to say no
That's right.
because that's all they've heard.
That. They don't know what it means necessarily because they
No,
don't they,
that's
they
why
don't
it's a
listen to
no.
it. They just hear
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah.
why is my
And,
child doing that? Well, what are
yeah.
you telling your child?
Yeah. So here's the kid. The kid's doing something. You say no, and the kid says okay. What
I've
was I
heard
do?
that a
What was
child's
what was I doing?
parents' report card is your child behavior or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yep, it's a lot like that. So anyway, functions allow you to be able to examine those kinds of behaviors. You say, like you're talking about right now. You say, okay, my kid's saying no. What's he hearing? He's hearing no. So he's agreeing with that. But that's what he's hearing.
Yeah.
So
So that's
let me see if I can adjust what I'm telling him because no seems to be something that he needs to know about a lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's a little sponge, so he's gonna
yeah,
do it.
yeah, that's right. And so as long as you don't make a deal out of it and say, well, even though you don't want to, you're going to have to because, and it's like, it's cool that you can do this. Come on, you want to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see, I told you you're going to like it. You can appease his reason and he'll get over it. And so the functions, in other words, when you're being at one with yourself as a mother, then you have to say, okay, I'm the influence on this child.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I am. I'm an influence on this child. I'm his mother. And so I have to be in harmony with him. So I can't let him do goofy things. No, son, you can't do that. But at the same time, you got to say, okay, but he's repeating just no, and so I don't want him to. I don't want him to live there. So I have to figure a way to get him not to do stupid things, and at the same time, explain to him that he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that you have to communicate with him where he is. And he doesn't have a whole lot of big abstractions available at the moment, does he?
No,
He doesn't even, something simple like no, he doesn't get very well.
no.
No.
Well, he was his first year. It was COVID, so
Uh-huh.
humans is a new thing for him.
Hmm. That's right. Okay, so anyway, then if you have a specific function with him, which is mama,
Yeah.
and because nothing, there's no they don't come with directions. There's not a direction book that comes with them at all. There's not.
No.
So the only thing you have is your natural mind that you can use. And to do that, you got to look at habits like saying no and change the habit so that you come up with something new. And where is that something new going to come from? From your natural mind function.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you have to be empathetic with the kid too. You have to think, okay, where's he going to take all of this? What's he going to do? What's his talents? What is he showing? What is he already showing that he can do? What does he have interest in already?
Mm-hmm.
That's all empathetic kind of stuff. Okay, I have to see how does it. Wow, he really likes that thing. I don't know if you saw that blind autistic kid on America's Got Talent. His name was Cody Lee, and his mom said that when he heard music, or when he sang, or when he played piano, that he came alive, that
Mm-hmm.
he could communicate with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so she realized that he was an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's empathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so we also have to have intuition. We have to think, okay, yes, he wants to do this thing, but boy, I don't know if he can do it the way that he wants to go at that, because the way he wants to go at it there isn't going to work as well. What if I can get him to think about it this other way too? Because maybe over there he could see it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to figure out how to kind of guide, what's going to happen when I give him this stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
Because for every action with a kid, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction, just like in space. And
Mm-hmm.
who knows what they're going to perceive that action as having been, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know, so
Mm-hmm.
they don't have an experience base, so they're going to make it up as they go.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use their natural mind function.
Yeah.
Same as you.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, at the end of the day, what you're hoping for is you're hoping that you and your son will have an agreement through his life, right? That will carry both of you into a future that you'd like to create.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's what you use the functions for. Is you use them to see those 7 different parts of making that go together to make the 8th. And that's what you use the functions for. It gives you a platform to look at what you're doing physically. Because for every function, there's also a tool that you can do physically to bring that function to fruition.
Okay.
We talk about the tools, but I don't want to bore everybody to death this morning. But there are tools for each one of these concepts, and to understand the tools, it's not something you do from night to morning either.
Mm-hmm.
They require some degree of practice, but it's suffice it to
So
say
you're
that,
saying, so right now we went over the functions,
right.
and so those functions have tools.
Yes, there are
Okay.
things that we can do with the body, or through the body, or let's say with the body. We can actually do, communicate, etc. That will cause those functions to shall we say, release or govern energy somehow or the other in our life. In other words, they're when we do those tools, we do them all at one time. We end up making these tetrahedrons of reality. I don't understand how that works, but
Mm-hmm.
it's way past my pay grade. I have trouble even saying it, much less explaining it how it works.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm gonna leave people with that, because I think that would be another little segment of what like you talked about functions. Now you surprise us with tools. So
Yeah, I can let me give you an example. Okay, in order to be at one with yourself, Okay, in order to realize B1 function in your life, something that you have to do, it's something I have to do, something everybody has to do, is we have to understand our programming. Now, we don't have to understand it as programming. We just have to understand that we learned certain things, and some of the things worked and some of the things didn't. We had to relearn some things, etc. It doesn't make any difference how you talk about it. It's still the same function. It's still the same thing that we do. We have to learn about our programming so that we can be at one with ourselves, because the programming, it's what runs us really. And if we have in place 3-year-old programming, we'll act like a 3-year-old in certain instances, where we learn those things, like relationships with people that are close to us, like moms and wives and girlfriends and so forth, or husbands and daddies. And we have habits that we learn from those very, very, very close male and female relationships. And so we have to go back and
it was funny
examine.
to watch Josh one time. He was around 9 years old, and he said he was going to do, I don't know, he was cooking something, and I sat back and I watched him, and while he was like, I do this, so while something's cooking, I'll wash the other dish, and then he multitasks like I would have done. I was so proud of him. Like, I didn't tell him. I was like, wow, you can multitask like nobody's business. I love it. Where did you see this? He was like operating the microwave, doing this, washing the dish, putting it away, and I'm like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why it makes me so proud, but I was like, wow.
Oh, you did something right.
I know, something. Yeah, I did something right with those two.
Yeah. So did you mark it on the calendar?
No, I just enjoy watching him when he's cooking. He does that.
Oh, okay. You don't want to let him know that, though.
No. I can't tell him he's almost perfect too. Like,
Oh,
he gets a big head. Come on.
You sound like your mother to me.
I know. I'm just biased with those two, but the other two too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll forgive you this time. I don't think I think it's a flimsy excuse, but okay.
Well, I think I'm going to catch you some other time. I want and dive into a little bit more about the tools and
Okay.
how that how that ties into what we just talked about.
Right. It might be handy if we could get Paul to do his 3-dimensional
Yep.
depiction of
One
how
of these days we are going to get Paul on here.
Okay.
That'll
be fun. Paul understands this material pretty well.
Yeah.
And he uses it all the time. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. How about I'll see you later?
Okay, sounds good.
Well, sure it is.
Thank you so much, and behave. It's Saturday, so drink lots of water.
Yeah, well, I'm drinking coffee at the moment, so
okay.
I need to wake up, you see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Saturday, you know.
Yeah, I know. Somebody told me, and I said, oh man, I got to get up.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, have a great day, and
I promise.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.